All right, so I think we are on the time, so we should start our session. Thank you very much for joining, and this is the lecture fourth of the deep learning course. In this particular session, we would continue our discussion on the evaluation parameters. Means when you develop a system, a ML based system, then how you are going to find out that how good this particular system is. And we would also see that there are some philosophy that how can we do some kind of optimization, because ultimately our objective is to reduce the error that is being done by my model and my system that we have developed. So if there is a method in which we can find out the right parameter, so this task is called the optimization, where we are going to find out the parameter which are more suitable and have the less error on the data that is available to us. So I would quickly start from what we have done in the last class. Very few slides which are actually going to talk about this. So in this last session, we talked about a kind of problem where I was thinking that let's assume that here this is a person who has given me one, two, three, four, five images to me. So and this is another person who have also given me the five images. If I match this image with this image, so I am going to get a score. So what should be that score? I don't know, but let's assume that score is 0.8. Okay, and for the sake of understanding, this score is going to be similarity. Means what? That if the two things, people's the images which are going to we are going to match, they are of the same person, then the score should be high. Similarity score means what? And so if I'm going to match this with this, then I'm going to get 0.8. This matching score is going to be 0.85. This matching score could be 0.88. This matching score is 0.62. All these matching are called the genuine matching, because when I'm matching the two peoples which are of the same which actually happens to be from the same thing, it is a genuine thing. So and it is known to me. Okay, sometimes it is known to me when a new sample is coming. It is not known to me that whether it is going to be matched with the genuine person or not. At that time I'm not talking about. We are only talking about when we are aware that whom these two images are, and in the database we are generally aware of this. Okay, so if I match this image with this image, okay, so at that particular time, this matching score would be called imposter. Okay, because when I'm matching this thing with any of these images, it is genuine. When I'm matching this image with any other images, images of other persons, then it is a imposter score. So you understand that what is genuine and imposter score. A score is called similarity, as we have just discussed. This similarity is nothing more than this, that you take a larger number and subtract this number out of that, then it becomes, because it's dissimilarity, it is a distance thing. So if the two person are the same, then the value should be lesser. Right now we are focusing on the similarity. Therefore, if when this particular person is matched with this particular person, a score could be something 5 4. I'm not sure about this. Any value can be possible, but what we expect that this value should be when I'm going to do a imposter matching, it is going to be smaller. So similarly you can do, so how many matchings you can perform. So here you know that total number of images is 25. So every image can be matched with the 24 other images. So total number of matchings here that is possible is 25 multiplied by 24. Everybody is matched with every other person. Okay, so these many matches you perform, and for each of these matches you write this thing, that what is the ID, because you can assign a identity to these first person, second person, third person, fourth person, fifth person. You can assign an identity. As well you can assign the number to the pose. What is a pose? Is a first pose, second pose, third pose, fifth pose, sixth. What I did, three, fourth, fifth. Okay, sorry. So fourth one and fifth one. So five poses. On this side there is pose. On this side there is identity. So using the identity and pose, you can tell that which particular image has been matched with which particular image, and then you define whether this match was genuine and imposter. And this is not a very this is a straightforward thing. You just compare these two things. If they are same, then you say that genuine, otherwise imposter. And after that there is a score. So you can create this kind of table. This is the matching score table. Now I am going to do some kind of operations on this particular table to understand that how good my system is. What operation I am going to do? The first operation, that I am going to divide this table into two parts. One table means this particular table which you just understood. I am going to make two table out of this. Okay, two tables. What are the two table? Genuine table and imposter table. What is the genuine imposter table? Just collect these things where there is one. Okay, just collect these rows where there is one and put into one place, and this would be called a genuine score table. And then remaining you put over here, and this is the imposter score table. But it is not commutative, not commutative. So AB is not, that is fine, because as I told you now, that when you are matching you pick this particular image, you can match with 24 other images. Okay, this is straightforward. But when you are matching this thing, again you will be matching with the 24 others. So in that one you are also matching this with this. So the all the possible combination would come when you are going to do n square matching. When you are going to do the n square matching, though, so in that particular matching all the scores would come. Make sense? It doesn't make any problem. Okay, you create this particular table. Understood? Is it clear? Yes. Okay, so those matches are also there. I am just telling that you find out, you divide this table into two parts, where you say that in one table only genuine scores are there, and another table there is only imposter scores. Let us focus on these particular table. So let us only consider the genuine one. So in the genuine one only genuine scores are there. So how the scores would be there? So you are going to get this rows. Okay, for example, these rows are there. Okay, these rows are there. And then I want to find out that what is the frequency of a particular score. Means 0.82. How many times this particular value is going to come over here? Okay, another number. How many times it is going to come? So I can find out the frequency, means the probability of getting that particular score. Okay, I can find out what is the probability of all the scores. So let us collect these scores, and then let us try to find out that what is the probability of a particular score. So we draw this kind of nice graph and say that there would be some, because all these scores are coming from normal distribution. We sometimes we can think that it could be of the normal distribution kind of thing. However, in practical, getting normal distribution is going to be very difficult until the number of matching are very large. But we expect that it is going to be of the normal distribution thing. There would be some score which is going to get very high value, otherwise other scores are going to get the lesser value. So with the genuine score, I have created this particular curve. Everybody is okay with that, this particular curve? With the genuine score, I have created a curve, this kind of curve, where on the x-axis, what is the on the x-axis there is a score, on y-x, sorry, and on here the probability of that particular score, and this curve is for genuine. So similarly, you can perform the same operation for the imposter score also. It would also come something like that. Okay, but why I'm drawing it in this particular side where the mean is actually lesser, because we expect that those scores would be smaller. If it is a similarity score, then the imposter score would be smaller. So imposter score would be smaller, that we expect. So this is the graph that in the last class we have seen, that this is a kind of graph that we have. What happens that when a new person comes, and means the query, when a new sample comes, and we are going to match that two persons with the score. For example, somebody comes and tells that I am Kamlesh, and let me enter to the system. Okay, let's assume that I go to the system where this identification based system is being applied, and I say that I'm Kamlesh, let me enter. So what would be done? What happens? So what would be done? So in my database, from my database, all the images which are there from the Kamlesh Tiwari, they are going to be retrieved, and the new sample that I have provided would be matched with that. Okay, with the match with that, and then we would decide that what is the maximum score. Okay, what is the maximum score? Let the maximum score is 0.72. Okay, so looks like that this is my score. Looks like that I am equal to this particular sample. Okay, I am equal to I am this particular person. Looks like I am this particular person. Whether this score is enough, because somebody else can also come. He can tell that I am Mr. Kamlesh. So what would happen? That his image would be matched, and his maximum score would be 0.42 maybe, because he is not the Mr. Kamlesh. His score, we expect that it would be the smaller. It would be having the smaller number. So that particular number 0.42 and 0.72, whether it is sufficient to let the person enter. So again, it is something like that you must have a threshold. If this particular value is greater than this particular threshold, then you should say that okay, you can enter, and this person is denied. So in this particular case, 0.55 could be the threshold, and based on that you can allow this particular person, and you can deny the entry to the second person. So it is a standard practice, and there is no other way to do that. So you have to come up with a threshold that actually decides that whether the new person who is coming, whether we should allow him to enter the system or not. There is a problem with the threshold, and that is a very interesting problem. That what happens, that on this particular graph, you know that you can draw a threshold matching, because there are the matching scores. You can draw, for example, if I select this particular threshold, okay, let's assume that I am going to select this particular threshold. What would happen? That all the scores, because sometime, what about this scores, what about these scores, okay, they are coming from the genuine person, means the Mr. Kamlesh Tiwari has came and he was wanted to introduce to the system, but his image was such that the matching score was low, because it is less than that particular threshold. So what would happen? That he would be denied entry, he would be rejected. It is rejected. But this is a false reject. Okay, this is a false reject, because this is a problem. This is actually not a right reject, because he was a right person, but he was denied entry. So this is a false reject condition. So this, if you set a threshold, it has a troll on the person's convenience. Person find out that, okay, I was trying to enter into the system, but system is not allowing me to enter. Again, the biggest problem is this, where these imposter score are actually larger than the threshold. Sometimes it may possible these scores are larger than this, so these people would be accepted. But this is a false accept, this is wrong accept. So these are the two kind of problem that actually happen. So what you should do, you should, instead of using this particular threshold, you should use, instead of using this particular threshold, you should use the threshold over here. What would happen? So the lesser people would, now the will be falsely accepted, but the more people would have a problem, then the false reject would high. So there is a trade-off, that when the false, you want to reduce the false accept, then the false reject is going to increase. This is definitely going to happen with all the kind of system. Technically, sometime people call it type 1 error, and this particular problem is type 2 error. And in the last class we have discussed that the type 1 error is more problematic, because false peoples are entering to the system, they are going to harm to the system. We assume that they are attackers, and therefore they can harm the system. So T1 is more problematic as compared to the T2. We have also understood that if we want to reduce the false acceptance, we have to increase the threshold, and then the false rejection would go high. If we want to increase the convenience of the people, then we have to reduce the threshold, and then the less people would be actually having the problem. False rejection is actually reduced, but then false acceptance actually goes high. This is also not a good thing. So we have to somehow understand that what is the right value, what is the right value on which we actually we have to do that. So again, this is another kind of curve that is called the receiver operating curve, ROC. And here I am going to plot the false acceptance and false rejection. Okay, false acceptance rate and false rejection rate. So we have few minutes back we have seen that as if you change the threshold, note, if you change the threshold, then the false acceptance is going to reduce. Okay, if you change the threshold, then false rejection is going to increase. So if I say that false rejection, this is the very high false rejection, then false false acceptance, if on this side there is a false acceptance, so as the false acceptance increases, false rejection actually reduces. So if you use those two values and try to point, because this is the point on the curve, na? It says that it is going to down. What does it mean? That as the false acceptance is increasing, false rejection is actually coming down. This curve shows that as the false acceptance is increasing, false rejection is coming down. So this is the curve. So let's assume that I have a matcher or a system A on which this kind of curve I have obtained. Okay, very important thing I'm going to tell, that the things which is area over here is called the AUC, area under curve. Okay, and this represents the error. Okay, so if this is high, means the system is going to do larger error. So with the two kind of system that we have right now, so this is matcher A and matcher B. This is, let's assume that this is another matcher. In this matcher, this is the area. So which matcher is better? Can you tell me that whether A is better or B is better? If the underlying area is going to represent as a error, so which is better? This is the error for the matcher B. This is the area for the, this is the problem. This is the error for the matcher B, and for the matcher A you have seen. Can you type that which is better, A or B? A is better because A has a lesser area under the curve. So this is a better curve. Okay. Yes, definitely. If in general you want to talk, then A is going to be better. Okay. In general, A is going to be better. Okay. However, we don't know. A few minutes back, we have just understood this particular concept, that if we want to reduce, for example, if we want to reduce the false type 1 error, if we want to reduce the type 1 error, then we have to increase the threshold, and this actually increases the false rejection to this much. Okay, so in what condition we would try to reduce the false acceptance? High security areas. When there is a high security area, we want lesser place over here. Okay, into the high security area, only the right person should enter. Okay, but if it is a some low security area, can you tell me some low security area? For example, cinema mall. For example, there is some railway station. There is also low security area because person want to travel on the train. If you are restricting his outside, that is not that bad. It is it is okay if somebody interest into this system. But if somebody has purchased the ticket and you are telling that stay out because your finger is not matching, he would be into the big trouble. Okay, so in those scenarios you want to reduce the false rejections. So in that particular case you are going to reduce the threshold. Okay, so if you focus the place where rejection false rejection is low, where is a false rejection is low, this is the amount of false rejection. So you are here. If you are here, then false rejection is this much only. Okay, and false acceptance is this much. Okay, you are here. If you are into this particular, at this particular point, if you are at this particular point, then false rejections are low. Means this is a cinema mall system. So cinema mall system, your threshold is here. Into the high security area, your system is actually this. Okay, so just focus on one of them. So let us just focus the high security cinema mall system, whether you should deploy the system A or system B. So you are into this particular system. Okay, now since we have fixed that we want we want the system to having the false rejection to be lower, so which system is better? Definitely this particular system is better because it has the lower value of false rejection. So system B is better. But if you are here high security area, if you are here into the high security area, so which system is better? System A is better. So it also depends upon the scenario in which you are actually going to apply. Okay, most of the general scenario, actually when we talk about the general scenario, people talk about the equal error rate. Okay, people talk about the equal error rate. So what is the equal error rate? So you can draw a line over here, the point at which this line cuts to the curve, actually means that this is the false acceptance. You can find out that what is the value of false acceptance. So false rejection also have the same value because you have drawn the line on the 45-degree. So here, this value of false acceptance or false rejection, what could be the value? Let's assume that this value is 0.5. If I ask about this value would be 0.7, because you know that it is a higher value. Na? It is a higher value. It may be 0.65. Okay, I'm not sure about this. Let's assume that this value is 0.65. So which value is better? Because it is going to represent the error, the smaller value would be better. So that's why in general, equal error rate is used to tell that which system is better. And this we can find out the value of equal error rate by just seeing on the curve. And this is the value that is there on the 45-degree, and this point is equal error rate. Similarly, for this particular curve, this is the equal error rate. Okay, you find out that what is the value of FRR or FAR, both are going to be the same. So you say that this value is going to be called the equal error rate. So this is how we decide that what should be the actual right parameter and which particular matcher you should select. So it depends upon the scenario in which you are going to deploy the system. Now let me tell you another scenario. It is also very interesting scenario. Here what I am going to tell, that let's assume that I am going to create a database where I am going to put the images. Everybody is going to provide me one image. There are 4 peoples, A, B, C and D, and they have given me their image. A has given a photograph, B has given photograph, C has given, and D has given the photograph. In my database, all these things are stored. 4 images are stored. Somebody came to the gate. Let's assume that I'm computer. I'm not knowing that who is that particular person. Some image have come. So who is he? If somebody asks me that, can you tell me that who is he? So I would use this image. What I would do, I would use this image and match with all these 4 peoples and see that what is the score. Let's assume that this is going to give the score 0.8 with the A, 0.6 with the B, 0.4 with the D, 0.2 with the C. So who is that person? Can you tell me? Who is that person? New person? A, because definitely the higher score. If the score is higher, then looks like that he is Mr. A. Okay, he is Mr. A. All right, very good. So let's assume that later I discovered that it was another image of A. So one image has come. I have matched with all the peoples, and I got the scores into this particular order. A was going to here on this particular axis, y axis, there are scores. So the score of A is this, D is this, B is this, C is this. Some image has come. So who is he? He is A. So I'm going to write A dash. Okay, let's assume that I'm going to write A dash. Next day, some other person came. He have also provided me the things. I have find out the matching score. The scores were this, where this in this particular order. Who is he? He is B. Once again, I am telling that I'm not aware that who he is. Next day again, one image came. I am going to match with all the peoples, and this is the scenario. Who is he? He is C. Next day, one more image. I have find out that who is he? I am going to say that he is D. Let's assume that somebody had disclosed me that actually he was A, actually he was B, actually he was C, actually he was D. So my system is correct in all the cases. So in my system is correct in all the cases. So there is a term called CRR, correct recognition rate. What is this? Correct recognition rate. So correct recognition of my system is 100%, because in all the 4 cases it was able to give 100%. My system has the CRR of 100%, 100% CRR. Okay. But the problem is this, that whether he is A or not would be decided based on the threshold, because only the highest score I'm not going to use. This highest score should also qualify a threshold. So I would be having a threshold also. Let's assume that this is the threshold. If this is the threshold, what would happen? That A would be A, that is fine, but B would not be B, because this time his score is actually not, however, it is higher than all other places, all other people's, but it is less than the threshold. I would say that no, he is not B. here score is actually lesser. Similarly, C is fine, but here in this particular case, you can see that D, he is D, but A, this score with the A is also greater than the threshold. So there are some problems. We have to find out that what is the false rejection, false acceptance, and you can just come up with the numbers, that what is the percentage of total percentage of matching. You just find out that what is the total percentage of matching. Out of them, this particular one was a problem. Then what is this particular percentage? And by this, you can find out that what is the ERR and FAR. Few minutes back, we have just seen that. What is ERR of the system? Try to find out this particular system, since as you can see that there are problems, there are errors. However, the correct recognition is 100%, but still it is possibility that other matrix can have some other value. It is not going to be the perfect system. Okay, objective of the uh, machine learning or artificial intelligence or deep learning, objective of our system is while developing a model is this, that we want to reduce the misclassification thing. What is the misclassification thing? That if some item, let's assume that there are two class item are of the two class, so there is a class C2 and there is a class C1. The items are into this particular class. We want to find out that what is the probability that the system is going to tell that item of the time of the type 1. Okay, let's assume that C1 and C2 are two categories. What is the error here? I pick a item from the C1 and I want to find out that what is the probability that my system is going to tell that this item is from here. Make sense? That would be the error, na? If I pick any point that item is from R1, okay, I am going to pick a R1 item, but I want to find out that what is the probability that my system is going to say it as C2. This is a error. This probability is an error. Similarly, I am going to pick the item from the R2, means the second category region, second region. Why I'm going to say R? Because system any item that you have, they would be represented with the features. So you extracted a feature in such a way that for all the items from the category 2, you have extracted the features, and now you are picking a particular item from that, and you want to understand that what is the probability that your system is going to say that it is going to be of the category C1. Category 2 item, your system is going to say that it is of the category 1. So this is the error. So actually you can represent this error into this particular notation. So the error is defined into this particular way, and this is called the risk, and you want to minimize. My objective would be to minimize this particular quantity. Very interesting thing that we are going to discuss right now is that what happens that if you are going to develop the system and you are going to only focus on the accuracy of the system, that my system should be more accurate. Okay, very high accuracy. Okay, could you repeat what is R1 and R2? Okay, very good. Please ask the question. Okay, so what I wanted to tell is this, that let's assume the category 1 and category 2 means the dog images. Category 1 is the dog images of dog. Category 2 is images of the cat. But you cannot represent the cat and dog using the same data. You actually, if there are cat images, you apply something to find out the features, feature space. You find out the images into the feature. So this is the region 1, okay, where all the features of these particular images are kept. Then region 2, where all the features of the images of the cat, because cat images you have, and you are going to represent this into this space. Ultimately, because you whenever you want to find out a classification, you cannot use this particular image directly. You have to use some kind of feature, and if you change the feature extraction algorithm, your accuracy is going to be different. So instead of just representing the C1, I'm going to call that this R1. I'm going to pick any item from this particular region and going to see that what is the probability that this particular item is going to be called as C2. This is problem. Okay, this is bad thing, because any item I'm going to put from here, it should be of the type C1. So this is the representation of C1 and R. C is the images of the dog. What is R? R is the features that I have extracted from the R. Make sense? Okay, good. So what I was telling that sometime you only focus that my accuracy should be high, okay, but you don't think that where are the places my system is going to do the error. Okay, sometime if you just blindly believe on the accuracy, you would be you misinterpreted. Let me give an example. Let me give you a problem that I want to develop a classifier for a terrorist trying to board a flight. Okay, so what is the scenario? That there is a aircraft, there is a aircraft, people are standing into the line, okay, and I have a system. Everybody is going to subjected to this particular system. This system is going to say yes or no, that person is terrorist or not, and then he would be allowed to enter to the system. Okay, this system you have to develop. You have to develop this system that by seeing the person, you find out all the parameters and you say that okay, he's a terrorist or not. Your system should be able to tell that he is not a terrorist. Okay, so how can you develop this kind of system? Definitely you have to find out many attributes from this particular person, devise a classifier, and do many things. I can give you a 99% accurate model, 99.99% accurate model. I can give you a very simple model, and I claim that it is so simple that you can compute it in your head. Means just see the thing and you'll be able to compute in your head, and you can tell that go ahead. And that particular system would have the very high accuracy. Right now, you would be thinking that this system would be very complex, but let me tell you that I'm going to give you a very simple model. And what is that model? The model is this, that my classifier is for every item I am going to say no, he's not a terrorist. Very simple. So some places it is going to do error, other places it is not going to do error. So let us try to understand that what is the fact. Fact is this, that 80 million average passengers on US flights per year. Per year, 80 million passengers board to the flight. Out of them, only 19 were the confirmed terrorists who boarded the US flight from 2000 to 2017. Only 19. Okay. If you say no to everybody, what is your accuracy? 99.9999%. But whether this system is good? Because if you develop that particular system, then the terrorists would also be entered into the system. With a very high accurate system, in this particular scenario, very high accurate system is not going to solve any of your problem. Whether this very high accurate system is going to solve your problem, yes or no? So this system is very highly accurate because you see on the data, if I give this 80 million peoples and provide all the data to you, and you actually say everybody you say that he is not a terrorist, then your system is accuracy of system is your 99.9999%. Whether it is a good system? Answer is no. This is not a good system. So therefore, failure should also be the part of your model, and this is very important term. You cannot neglect this. Only accuracy is not going to give you the right perspective. So our objective into the machine learning is broadly towards finding out the right parameters. Okay, we define a model. What do we mean by model? That we think that maybe the relationship is linear or anything. For example, in this particular scenario, I'm going to give a hypothesis function that it is telling that if you have a feature, and here only one dimensional feature is there. Okay, let's assume that only one dimensional feature is there, and I'm telling that x square and the feature is x to the power m. Okay, w0 plus w1x plus w2x square plus w3x cube dot and wmxm. I think I have figured out that there is a mistake. And what should be this value? I think the wm. Okay, so this is a model, means I want to portray that the problem is of this particular kind. Okay, the relationship is of this particular kind. Then what is left? Finding out the right value of these w's, where m says that how many term I am going to use. Any questions on that? I am telling that let's assume that the data relationship between the data is being explained by this particular formula. Let me say that. Okay, everybody, are you clear? Okay, so let's assume the data. Please focus on this particular part. Let's assume that value of, let's assume that the value of x, let's assume that value of x is this, and let's assume that the relationship is a this kind of relationship. Okay, are you with me? So for this value of x, what should be the value of y? This value. For this value of x, what should be the value of y? This value. For this value of x, what should be the value of y? This. But since I am going to do some observation, there is some problem into the data, and actually instead of this value, I get this value, this value. Sometime I get this value, but sometime also I get this value. Sometime I get this value. I get this value because I am measuring. Now it may be possible that there are some error. So I get these data points. Everybody okay with this? That I was with for this particular value of x, this value should be given, but I instead of this, I got this value. It is possible? It is possible? Yes or no? Yes, it is possible. But this function is a God function, as I told you. So I don't know about this particular function. So data would be into this particular form. This is what the data is given to you. And you have to tell me this particular function. Your objective would be to give me this particular function, this particular line. Okay, this particular function. Given this particular data, your objective would be to give me this particular kind of function. But if I model the problem using this particular equation, and I set m is equal to 0, m is equal to 0 means all these, there is no such point, then there is only one w. So I would be able to reach to this particular line because it's a constant line only. It would be a straight line. So only this particular line I can reach. If I put m is equal to 1, then this line would be, then I can get this line could be slanted and I can get this line. Is it a better line? Yes, it is better than this. Okay, because how can I define that how better this line is? So betterness can be defined that you draw this particular line with this line. You see that what is the difference of this particular point with all these lines, and you find out the summation of these terms. Here I have to find out the summation of these terms. Okay, summation of these terms and summation of these terms, if you compare, most probably this value would be, here the value would be smaller. With the m is equal to 2 is a better representation. If m is equal to 3, then you would be getting this kind of fit. Okay, this kind of fit. So it is even better fit. Okay, with m is equal to 9, because 9 data points were there, with m is equal to 9, then my curve actually passes to all the data points. So if you find out what is the error over here, so error here would be 0. Here the 0 error would be there. In this particular case, there would be some error. So which is the best system? Which is the best system? This system is better. Okay, this system is better because it has 0 error. But actually the problem is this, problem with this kind of system is this, that if you are on this point, you are correct, but as you go beyond, for example, instead of this point, if I pick this particular point, then the error is going to be too large. So it is going to with the passing through all the data point, but the point which are not into my database, for them the error is very high, and this we don't want because we want to learn the thing to be better on the unseen things. So this is the problem with the coefficients. So that's why we always want to keep this coefficient very small. Very small values are also not good, and very large values are also not good, because if it is very large, then it is going to be the problematic. You know that most of the time when you start with your system, your training error is actually something, and when you keep training, your error is going to reduce. But testing error, we expect that testing error is larger than the training error. it also reduces, but after some time it actually increases. And this particular point after which it increases, we say that the system is actually overfitting. We call it that the system is overfitting. Okay. Overfitting can be avoided by using a technique that is called the regularization, and very it is a very important technique. And regularization actually first talks about that the coefficients which are there, they should be not very large. Okay, into the previous system when I was talking, we were talking about when m is equal to was 0, then the w0 was actually 0.19. When m was 1, then w0 was 0.82 and w1 was minus 1.27. When m is equal to was 7, when m was 6, then the values of coefficient was this. Can you see this? It was 0.31, 7.99, 25. But when the m was 9, you have seen that it was the scenario when everything was fitting onto the curve. You can see that these values are small, but these values are very large, very large. And this is the problem. When you are actually overfitting your system, and we have few minutes back seen that this in this particular scenario, it was a overfitting thing. It was a problem because any other data point, which any other place where which is not my in database, the error is very large. So when your parameter have very large value, then most probably you are actually overfitting. Okay, then most of the time you are actually overfitting. So we want to do something by which we can control that no, these values should not be very large. Makes sense what we can do? So in the general scenario, when we want to find out that what is the error, few minutes back we have talked about that with all the data item, you see that what is the difference of the data item with the predicted model, and find out the square distance of that particular item, and you actually, this summation is going to call as an error. You want to reduce this particular error, and therefore you do the training. The regularization says that since you also want that these W should be smaller, so you add one more point. You say that norm of all these W's, you are going to put a summation over there, and you are also going to put a parameter lambda by 2. You are going to add one more term over here that says lambda by 2 norm of the vectors, weight vectors square. This you also include into the error. So what would happen, that if this value is very large, even if this value is small, the system would not stop into that particular running scenario. He would also reduce these kind of value. So with the regularization, the same thing is being shown, that when you apply these kind of regularizations, so with the right kind of parameter, you can achieve that the system is going to have the higher accuracy, but the parameters, but the weight vectors are actually maintained. You can see that here the weights are actually not very high. Right value of lambda here also you have to find out, otherwise you would not be able to get the right parameter. That is again a system parameter setting. So that we would see that how can we do that. But right now what is important, that your weight should be smaller, and to make the weight smaller you can add this regularization term that actually enforces this particular kind of scenario. Very important, this is a very important slide that actually talks about that if lot of data is there, then your system by automatically gets regularized. Okay, having more data helps in regularization. If you have lot of data, then definitely you are going to be regularized. So actually this I think we should start our discussion by seeing this particular case. So if you don't want to get the overfitting, means if you don't want to get into this particular scenario, this scenario is better. Okay, so how many data items you have? Here 9 data items are there. Okay, here 9 data items are there. So what should be the value of m? Value of m is very less as compared to the number of data items that you have. With the size of data, number of items are very less. Here in this particular scenario, you see that model size is actually equal to the data size, and that is the problem. This is the problem because now your system is enough capable to learn all the data points. So there was a problem. When m is smaller, then means model complexity is smaller, then your system is better regularized. So try to see the reverse of this thing. Means if you compare two things, that what is the data size and what is the model size. So what I'm telling, that if this is very large, in this particular scenario it is okay, in this particular scenario it is, in this particular scenario it is not okay, here it is not okay, here it is not, because the both are equal. When m is very large, but it's also at the same time m should not be very negligible, because 1 and 2 are very and 0 are very negligible values. Then in that scenario we are going to get the regularization, means better system, we are going to see. The same thing is shown over here. You see that n was 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 15 number of points were there, 15 number of points were there. So when you try to train them, then your system becomes this, the same model which actually has the m is equal to earlier how much, 9. That model becomes this, the same model where m is equal to 9, which was going to like this. When you increase the number of samples for the training, it becomes this. And if you increase so many samples over here, what becomes, when the number of item is 100, it looks like this particular thing. So it is very near to the data. So if more data is given to you, then you are going to be better regularized. This happens because of a very interesting phenomena, that you try to see that what is the value of m and what is the value of n, number of items. So can you increase the power of the model? Yes, you can increase, but not as easily as you can increase the number of sample. Number of sample means if you want to find out that images of cat, you have 100 images, you can very easily make 200 images. But if you want to increase the power of model, your model is taking one computer. If you want to make it more powerful, it is going to take 10 computers. Very difficult, because you cannot purchase on the fly 10 computers. 10,000, if you have data of 100 images, you can make it 10,000. It would take very less time. But if you want to make more computers, then it is going to be very difficult. So increasing the model power is difficult as compared to increasing the number of sample. So therefore it is suggested that you increase the number of samples, and you keep your model very strong. If you have a strong model and you increase the number of samples or number of examples, then your system is going to be very good system. Make sense? Learning a parameter is a very interesting idea, and let's assume that there is a function of this particular kind which have the minimum value over here. So what is the optimal value? Let's assume that you want to find out that what is the value of w on which this particular function is going to have the minimum value. This is called the optimized value. So on this particular value w star, this particular function jw is going to have the smaller value. How can I find out the value of w star? This is the interesting problem into the machine learning domain. So one thing is called the gradient descent. It says that you pick any value. For example, you start with any value. Okay, let's assume I pick this particular value. This is I say that w1 value. Here I see that what is the gradient. So what is the gradient? Gradient is this, that you increase a small amount over here and you see that what is the change into the value of this particular function. So you see that this change is negative. Okay, this change is negative. So if this change is negative, means when you are increasing the w, your value is reducing and you want to reduce. So therefore you go into this particular direction. So with this value, you say that I am going to use this value w1 plus something. Okay, you go into this particular direction. If you are here, similarly, if you are at this particular point, say w2 point, you again you increase this thing and try to see that what is the value. You see that on the increased value, you say that it is positive. It is positive. Increase in j is actually positive. You want to reduce it, so you have to come into the negative direction. So you have to come into the negative direction, you have to come into this particular direction. So you say that you want a value W2 is equal to W2 minus something, you want to make it something negative. Means when, and this thing is called gradient, okay, gradient or tan theta. This is called the gradient. So you can see, if this particular, if a function is given to you, you try to see that what is the gradient of that particular function and go, if the gradient is positive, then you go into the negative direction. So W is equal to W minus of the gradient that you had, okay, minus gradient, this value. And here what you want to do, if this is, if the value is already negative, here the gradient is negative, then you say that W is equal to W plus gradient. So plus means negative of negative thing, negative of negative thing, you can say like that. So in the both the cases, in between there is a negative sign. So here it is the gradient. So you can say that if you want to find out the new value of weight, take the previous value, find out what is the derivative, this is the derivative thing, it could be positive and negative, and you subtract this value from the original value. There is an learning parameter alpha that says that how fast you should go. So this is another system parameter, that is an important parameter you have to choose. If you are choosing the right parameter, you would be able to reduce the value of W in each of the iteration, and you would be able to reach to the minima. This particular methodology is called gradient descent, where it is telling that I'm using gradient to descent, and I'm going to reach to the absolute minima into the right amount of time. So this is very interesting thing, that if you know that you are at this particular place, you can reach here. If you know that you are here, you can reach at this particular place. However, the last landscape is actually not, means the function that we actually build up, especially for the neural network based systems, they are not that smooth. So last landscape looks like this. Visualizing the last landscape neural network, this is a recent paper, you try to go and see that, this particular paper. So they have plotted the last landscape like this. So what you want the parameter that are actually related to this particular point. Okay, you want to find out the parameter that are related to this particular thing. But if only if you initialize at this particular location, you would be able to do the gradient descent and you can reach this particular parameter. But if you start at this particular point, definitely you can only reach and stuck over here. If you start at this particular position, you can stuck over here. So last land, there are various small gaps. You can see that if you start at this particular point, because you randomly start at this particular location, at this particular location, you can reach to this particular point only. You start over here, you can reach to this particular position only. You start here, you can reach over here. So sometime it is suggested that you run this algorithm multiple number of time, and then you can reach to this particular place. And another method is a regularization. And when you apply a regularization, we would see into the later classes, then what happens, this particular place becomes smooth. Okay, so this so many ups and downs that you are going to see over here, they are actually compensated and they become smooth. And if they become smooth, then my task is done, because then I can start any point. Then I can start at any point, for example here, and then I can slide down to this particular location and find out the right parameter. Okay, so last landscape is very important to be understood, that what is the how the loss is actually there in your neighborhood. Okay, then only you can apply this kind of standard methods that can take you to the right parameter. So that's all for today.